I can do this. Oh, oh, sorry. गजब 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 खैर let's continue. uh hey, hello, 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 hello. कोई है? कोई कोई है किस स्पेलिंग से सॉरी है? नहीं कोई है? चलो आगे बढ़ते हैं. ओके. एंड till now in my blackboard, till now we have completed the HTML. ओके, ये हमने बनाया था लास्ट टाइम. ओपन हो जाओ. ओके, सो वी हैव क्रिएटेड दिस लॉगिन फॉर्म एंड साइन अप फॉर्म. हमने HTML में सिर्फ बनाया था. ओके, एंड हम ये देख भी सकते हैं. मैंने क्या फोल्डर नाम से सेव कर रखा है? जस्ट गिव मी अ मिनट. नो बुलशिट वेब डेवलपमेंट ना. डे 3 क्या HTML में? ये कैसे क्लिक होता है? आउच, कंट्रोल सी से कैंसिल करेंगे. ओके, डे 3 वाले को हम खोलेंगे. ओके, and we will open it with our VS Code. Okay, and okay, so if I just go live, what is this? क्या है ये सब? क्या फालतू की चीजें खोल रही है भैया? हाँ ठीक है भाई, इतना टाइम नहीं मेरे पास जेमिनी इसे खुद से बनाने के लिए. ठीक है.
Should you spend your time
हाँ अभी जा रहा हूँ. 6 और 7 को आया है. हेलो. ओके, बहुत कुछ दिखा दिया मैं इसमें. मुझे पूरे का पूरा स्ट्रीम वापस करना. हटाओ, अभी तो कोई आएगा नहीं, मैं एडिट में सब काट दूंगा. We'll start fresh from here. So yeah, last time we have talked about how to create login form and sign up form, right? Okay, login form and sign up form. Okay, and we have actually created two. So if I just go to this, let me do it once again. Let's close it. Okay, if I open my last from where we what we have left. Okay, so this is what we have left. Okay. Hmm. This is the HTML, and if we go live from here, we will reach this page. Okay, and this page, we have created login form which looks something like this, and we have created sign up form which looks something like this. Okay, here's for now there's a very little of CSS that is giving this border and all. Okay, and what these things are we will talk about it in today's session. Okay, so let's start with fourth arc of our no bullshit web development journey, and we will give it a title of 4.1, that will be introduction. Okay, and in this introduction, let me just set it up with my comfortable format. Okay, in this introduction, that's my pencil. Okay. Introduction. Okay. So, we will see. Yeah. Let's not call it introduction. Topics. topics, okay, that we will cover today. Okay, so very first one will be what is CSS? Okay, is CSS first that, and I have already noted it in my notepad. Second would be CSS syntax. I think this should be covered first. This we should cover this first. CSS syntax. Syntax. Can we give it a different color? What is CSS? Then second thing will be CSS syntax. Syntax. Okay. Then third thing will be, where's my marker? I cannot find my, yeah, there it is. Third thing will be what is the third thing? Third thing is, okay, so CSS types. Where's my marker? Yeah, there's something wrong with it. CSS types, okay, and then fourth one will be CSS priority. We will have with this style priority. Let's call it. Let's call it style priority. Okay, style priority. Okay. And after this, what we can cover is, let's wrap our today's session with these topics only. Okay. So first, what is CSS? Okay. This takes some time. So what is CSS? Is CSS. Okay. CSS is actually styling. Okay, sorry. CSS is something that we use to style our web page. Okay, we used to, let's say this, okay, this form. So I don't want it to look like this black color and this font. I want this font to be bigger. I don't want this white background. I don't want buttons to look like this. I want to give my buttons my own color. Okay, then these confirm password and all, I want to change all these colors. I want to add some space here. These things are comes under style. Okay. So what we are doing is we are actually styling our web page. Got it? And that styling we do with the help of CSS. Okay. That is all. CSS is use used to style web page. Web page. That's all about CSS. Okay. Now, how does it look? What is the way we can look it? Okay, so for that, it's very simple. Okay, just focus it. Okay, first will come this selector. Okay, then after selector we have these curly braces. We have these curly braces. Okay, one for start and one for end. This two down. Then we have this. Oh my god, Turula. Okay. And one for and. Okay. In between, we have something called selectors property. Okay. And properties value. Each property has some value. So value. Okay. Then after value, we have a semicolon. Got it? Property colon value semicolon, everything closes under these curly braces, and then we have selector. Now what are selector? So we can have selector in three types. Okay, let's go over here. So selectors. Okay, selectors can be elements, HTML elements name. Okay, not name. let's call it element only. Element, okay, or tags, whatever you call it. Then that tags ID, okay, or that tags class. This thing can be used as a selector of a particular element, okay. If it's a element, you can just use element's name, okay, like a p tag, okay, or a body tag, okay. So these are all you can use as a selector, okay. So if you use p tag, then whatever wherever p tag is in your page, it will apply these changes to that, okay. So generally selecting element isn't a good practice for that, okay. So we go with other two options, okay, in which our second option is id, okay. So I have already talked about what id is in my previous html session. As a recap, id is a particular name that you provide to your one particular element in entire script, okay, in entire html file. So if that ID is already used, you should not be using that same ID in any of your other tags, okay. And by selecting ID, we have to use the hashtag. Got it? Hashtag and whatever ID we have selected. Let's say if there's an element, okay. Let's say if there's an element, I will use green for showing that. Let's say if there's an element and that is p tag, and it has why am I using p tag a lot? Let's go with some other tag, right? Let's go with a tag, okay. And I have provided its id of let's say something. Got it? So how will it work is I will use hashtag and then there will be something. Don't misspell the spelling. Something, okay. Third and final selector is the class selector, okay. So you should use something as okay. You should use the id selector only when you want to apply a particular style to a particular element, okay. And it again, okay, you can use it fairly. There is no you should not be using it. You can use it wherever you want, but keep in mind that whatever id there is, it should be of one and only one element, okay. Keep that in your mind. Now third thing comes is the class, and class can be selected by saying dot, okay, full stop and class name. So let's say if this a tag, let me use marker, let me remove this tag, and then I can use a green one, okay. No, let's go with purple one, okay. And I provide it a class of say nothing, okay. I provide it a class of nothing, and then let's get back to our color. So I can, how will I select a class? I can do dot nothing. Got it? Dot nothing. So in entire HTML, wherever there will be this class, the entire style will be applied on that class only. Okay, got it? So these are all the elements. These are all the selectors. Okay. After selectors, we have properties and we have their values. Okay. What are properties and what are values? Let me tell you. Okay. So okay. So we can divide this section into part, okay, and I will use one for property, and we will corresponding values, okay. So inside property now we have like Let me ask you this question, okay? Say this text, what are its properties? What can you see in it? It has a particular font, right? So font can be its one property. It has a particular height. Height can be its property. It has a particular width. The entire segment has a particular width. So that width can be its property. Now, what can be other properties? It can be like there's this spacing between words, that can be a property. Okay, the spacing between upper border to this space, that can be a property. Again, from the spacing between this sign to this email, that can also be a property. Okay, so whatever thing you can see here, whatever you can say here, that yeah, these things can be considered as its properties, are its property. Okay, so properties are just okay. Another thing, let's go with our page. We have our page, right? If I go back this page, this image, let's talk about this image. So what are its property? Height, again, there's a particular height, so I can say height is property. Again, particular width, so width can be its property. Again, it's the sticking to this border, so that I can provide, there should be some space. So that space can also be considered its property. Okay. And there are much more properties of what things are there. Okay. For a button, let's say, what properties can be of button? You just have to observe it first. Okay. I'm not writing any syntax. You should be observing it first. Okay, talk about this button. So this button has a text can be changed. Again, whatever properties we talked about this text, all will apply to this as well. Okay, the font size, the spacing, the padding, everything. Okay, then comes this grayish background, that can be also its property. A background has grayish color, background is a property. Okay, and grayish color is its value, keep in mind. Okay, let's say this what is this image? Okay, so if I use my not ad blocker, if I use my page maker, so I can say that if this is of 10 unit. Okay, what unit I don't know, and let's say this is of 2 units. Okay, so I can say that height is its property and its value is 10, right? Same, I can say that width is this image's property and its value is 2. Am I right? Okay, in this image I can say that background is its property. Background is its property and its value is gray. Its value is gray, right? I can say that I can say that text color is a property. Text color is a property. Okay. What the? I can say that text color is a property. Oh, why it is so big? Sorry, my mistake. Control Z will work. No. Arey, yeah, what is this? Yeah, I don't. Okay. So what I'm saying that text color can be its property. What is property? Color text. Color. And that color is black. So black can be its value. Getting it? This is how its logic work. Okay, same logic will be followed here. The very something some what can be like the fundamental properties of anything. Okay, talk about it. Let's go with this button, the height, right? The height, the width. Again, for this image also, the height, the width. Okay, then again this for paragraph, for this paragraph also there is some height, there's some width. So height and width can be properties, right? Height, HEIGHT, height. Okay, WIDTH, width. Okay, and what else? Then there can be color, text color. text color, okay. Then there can be background color, background, or let's say background color, ground color, right? All these things can be its property. Getting it? All these things can be property. And its height should be something, width should be something, text color should be something, background should be something, background color should be something. So height. Now this unit I talked about. This unit I talked about. So in digital world, the smallest unit is pixels. What is it? Pixels. Okay. Your entire screen is divided into some pixels. Okay. X into y pixels. X into y pixels. Let me write it here. X into y pixels. Right. This is the sign of pixels. Px is pixels. Okay. So entire screen are just small pixels. So pixels is the fundamental unit of digital world. Got it? Same as in physics, we have the very fundamental, that is the Planck length. There is something Planck length. Okay, this is the fundamental unit because nothing can be smaller than this. Say similarly, nothing can, in whatever you are saying on screen, nothing of it can be smaller than a 1 pixel. Got it? Got it? So that is the ideology. Okay. So whatever you want to measure, you can measure it in pixels. Got it? Now width can again be measured in pixels. There are more units that I will talk to you when we will be actually styling something. But for now, just remember that there is something called pixels, and it's the unit of measurement for the digital world. Okay. Then text color. Now color can be color, right? It can be now there are types of colors. Okay, the RGB we use. Okay, RGB. Then hex color. Okay. Then hue rotate is hex. You can do hue rotation. Okay, hue in simpler term. Okay, so there can be a multiple color system. Okay, hex color is already there, and then there are a lot. If I go to Google and I search colors, color systems, and systems. Okay, so there can be, okay, RGB again I talked about in IT term. Okay. Hmm. Okay, so there are like hexadecimal, hex color, RGB, HSL, hue rotate I said. Okay, so these are different type of coloring system. I have one extension that you also can use, not this one. I have one extension that Colorzilla. Okay, so if I select a color panel, then you can see HSB. This is the hue rotation and all. Okay, then HSL color, RGB color, and then this is the hex color. Okay, so if I just hover on some color, pick a color. Okay, you can see the values here. Okay, these are the value. Okay, for this blue, there's this RGB value. Got it? So for startup, we will use only RGB colors. Okay, and as we go further, we can expand our color knowledge. RGB color. Okay, now background can be like images, okay, or can be solid colors. Okay, anything can be here. Got it? Same for background color. There are will be colors only. This RGB and hex color. Then the gradient, you can do gradient and all. Okay, so these are properties. Whatever you see on your screen, you can have its property. Let's say about this bar, if you see it, it's of some color, so we can say that its color is a property. Okay, it's of some width, you can say this width that expands to my entire screen, so that width can be its property. Then there's this particular height can be its property. Okay, so these things can be property, whatever you can see, whatever you can say that yeah, I can measure this thing, that is its property. Okay, I can identify this thing, that is its property. Okay, now, why I'm talking about only these properties are because there are, if you like go deep into CSS, you will find a lot of properties. Even we will talk about a lot of properties here. Okay, so keep in mind that these are some properties, and also these are some properties. Okay, got it. Now, third thing that we will cover is something very important in CSS, very important in CSS. Okay, and if you understand this, you will understand everything. If you understand this, you will understand everything. Okay, it is something called box model. Box model. Okay, what it is, let's say that you have something. Okay, let's say if I have a text, let's say this is A. Okay, so now this A in CSS, everything in CSS, each and everything is a box. Okay, whatever you are seeing is inside a box, whatever you are seeing is inside a box. Okay, so this A must be inside a box. Can I create a box? Can I create a box? Okay, oh no, not like this. I want empty box. Okay, and its width should be this and this and this and this, 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 this. So this is how our CSS says it. This A is not a random font, it's inside a box. Okay. Now each box has border. What it has? A border. A border. Got it? It's a border. Now there won't be this only one element, there will be many elements, but let's talk about this one element first. Okay, so this is the content and this is its border. Whatever the space between content and border is, it's called the padding. What we call it? Padding. Padding is what? Padding is the space between the actual content and its border. Got it? Okay, so padding is what? And this space between the text and the border, that is padding. If there is no space between both, then padding will be 0. If there is some space, then padding won't be equal to 0. Keep in mind that there must be some padding. Okay, and then this is the padding, this is the content. Now this is a border, as I already told you. This is what? A border. Let me get another marker. This is what? A border. Got it? Now this won't be a single thing. Okay, there might be other boxes as well, there might be other things as well. Okay, so let's say that there is another thing. Let's say that there is another thing. Okay, and it also contains something. Let's say it also contains something. Hmm, let's say it's had B inside. Okay, so B will be what? Content. Content to border space will be what? Padding, as I already said. But there is some space between these two also, right? There is some space, if you can see. Okay, everywhere. If you go to the YouTube studio bar, let me just. Why isn't it opening? Am I even live? Yeah. Hey. Hello, 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 hello. No one is here. Got it, got it. So CSS, okay, yeah, CSS. Uh, okay. Hmm. So where I am? I forgot where I am. Now see in this. You see this. This is a box. If you can see it, let me have my that extension page maker. Okay. We can see that this is a box, right? This is a box. Am I right? Okay. Now you can see that this is also a box. This entire thing is a box. Okay. But there's some spacing between both. You can see the spacing. There's some spacing, and that spacing is I'm mentioning here. This spacing is called the margin. Are you getting it? There's the content and its the space between content and its border is padding, and the space between two contents are what? Margin. Got it. Okay, so what else? Now you can check this in our course as well. Let me create a new file. Let me create day 4, as we are on day 4. New file, folder, and let's say day 4 CSS Foundation. 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 Okay. In this foundation, we will open this foundation. Okay, let's close. We will be using this as well, so let's not close it. We can open the CSS Foundation, and we can open it with our VS Code also. Okay. So now inside this, let we will create our day 4 dot html. Let's see. Okay. Now this html will contain first of all the html tags. If you haven't learned all this, please go and check it out first. Okay, I have already covered it. And in this, I'm so sorry, my light isn't fixing for some reason. Please stay right there. Stay right there. Okay. So let me check how am I looking. Ouch. Ah, wait a minute. Okay, where we are? Where we are? Let me check if there are people or not. Hey, no one is here. Okay, so this space is what? The margin. Okay, now we see it in much better look than we have created here. Okay, this dumb thing we don't want it, so we can select it like this, like this. Okay, and I can just shift it at the very side of it. Okay, here we will actually talk about the how other teachers it we can say. Okay, so we will have a new box. We will have a new, oh sorry, how do I remove this box? I don't know how to remove this box now. Whatever. Okay, can I select color? We'll go brute force. Can I select color? of my choice. Can I select color of my choice? No, I cannot. Anyway, we will do something else here. Okay, so we will get a box, and this box I have to do something like this only. Then only it work. Okay, okay, okay. So let's say this box is our content. Okay, this box is our content. Okay, now we have another box. Okay, okay, this will be its border, and then we should have another box. Okay, so now this is the content. This spacing between them is its padding, as I already told you. This is padding, padding, okay, this space, okay, and this is border. This is our border. This line is border, okay, and then after border we can decide some space for our content, okay, that will be outside our border. That space will be called what? Margin, okay. So we'll call that space margin. Margin. This space. Got it? Got it? And now, how will this? Let me just let's do some coding. It's a lot of theory. Let's go do some coding. Okay. So I have created this HTML file. We can go to div for HTML foundation. Here we can define a div tag. Okay, and this div tag will have a p tag. Actually, no. Let's define p tag only. This will have a p tag, okay, and this p tag will contain something, okay. Let's say ddc, okay. So this tag is containing ddc, and if I go live with this tag, okay, if I go live with this, we are seeing the ddc, okay. Now if we hover on this ddc, click F12 in your Chrome browser and you will open this div tool. Okay, inside this div tool you can see this style section, and here you can see the exact same drawing I have created here. Okay, this particular drawing is here only. Okay, now see, this is the content. The content is DGC only. Got it? And then we have zero padding. Let me provide some border to it. Okay, let me do it here only. Okay, you can see it. There is a border. Okay, now there's already some amount of the 2 pixels of border, zero padding. Then this entire thing is its content. Okay, I'm so sorry. Okay, and then we can give this border something as well. Let's not talk about that. There will be some padding. Okay, okay, okay. Let's give some margin. Okay, you can see there's already some margin here. This is our content, okay, inside the border. You're getting it? Hmm? This is our content inside the border. If I hover on this content, you can see it. Okay, the the yellow line is margin. You can see here, see it, the margin. There is already some amount of margin. Then we have border of 2 pixels. I can, let me just increase this 2 pixel to 8 pixel or 10 pixel, 10 pixel. So you can see that a border became 10 pixels from everywhere. You can see it, right? And then there is no padding. Okay, then there is no padding. So the DDC, okay, the DDC is directly, D is directly connected to the border. You can see it, right? Okay, why? Because there's no padding. If I apply some padding to it, if I apply some padding to it, let's say padding 3 rem, 3, 30 pixels, 30 pixels. You can see that there is some space between them. Firstly, it was D was like touching this border, and now there is some space. From where this space comes, it's padding. You can see now we have some amount of padding as well. Okay, then we have border of how many pixels? Why it's showing no border? Okay, that's why we were getting problematic. Just refresh the page. We'll select this tag. Okay, and if I provide some border to it, 10 pixels solid red. Okay, now see that now this is the border of it. Okay, I have made it 10 pixels in width. Okay, width and height, and you can see the border, and D is directly in contact with the border. Okay, so what I told you that if you want your content to be a little far away from your border, I'm losing my cursor every time. Why is this happening? Why board isn't working? See, see, I know my marker is here. I know my marker is here, but it's not working. Control Z isn't working either. There is no marker. Anyways, we can talk here only. Okay. So you can see that if I want that this D should be like far from this border, so I can do what? I can do some margin. Sorry, padding. Inside border, we do some padding, and let's say the padding is of 10 pixels. Now you can see that the D is some amount of, there's some amount of space between D and the border. You can see it right, and that space is exactly 10 pixels. Okay, as I have defined, you can see the green box, and that green box has the width of 10 pixels only. Okay, then after that we have border of 10 pixels, and then there's 16 margin. Okay, but we haven't give any margin yet. You can see. Okay, I have told you, and the property margin will be called margin only. So you can see that we haven't give any margin yet. Still there is some amount of margin. Okay, so this margin is given by the browser by default. Okay, so Chrome is providing this margin, and it's a good practice that whenever you start styling your page, you should remove all the by default things. Okay, so this margin will come under that by default thing. Okay, now one thing that you can see, uh hmm I will tell that later, or let me tell you. Okay, so there's this content. Okay, so whenever we define some width about it now, let's say that font size, I want this font to be bigger. Okay, so for that we have something called font size, we have something called font size, and this font size can be, let's say, 32 pixels. Now you see the font got bigger. Okay, I can go even bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay, now I can define its, width and height also. By default, the p tag takes the entire width of your screen. Okay, so I can define that width as well. Width will be like say 50 pixels. 50 pixels. You see, let's go higher because the DDC is already bigger than 50 pixels, so it's overflowing. How we will handle that, we will talk about it later. But for now, let's go with higher width. Let's go with this width. Okay, this width. Have a good number. This width. Got it? So we can define its width. This entire container width. Now, whenever you define the width, now that width is considered only inside your container and of your padding. Okay. So if I say that 116 pixels, okay, if I say 116 pixels, then you can see that I'm so sorry, don't know what it is. What I'm saying, that entire 116 pixel got for content only. Okay. But when you are making this now, if you define something to be of about this height, okay, of about this entire screen height, sometimes there are some issues. And how should I say that? For now, make sure that what is padding? Padding is the space between your content and your border. The margin is the space between your two content. Yeah, the space outside of your content. Okay, outside of your content, and you can consider this both the border and the content as a single content. Okay, by saying that it's box sizing is a border box. I don't know, box sizing, we can say border box. Okay, so what it does is, let me show you. Without that, see, I provided 116 pixels. Okay, so that entire 116 pixel went to our content only. You can see here inside this style. Okay, that entire 116 pixel went to content only. Okay, and this sometimes gives you problem. Okay, so the entire what you are seeing is not just this text. Okay, you are seeing this entire box, and for you this box is a content. Okay, so if you want this box to be of 116 pixels, okay, then you have to make sure that this margin and this text and this margin and this border should also come under 116 pixel only. So you have to first get 116 pixels, then you have to manually think how much padding should be there. Okay, so for ignoring that, what we can do is we can use the box sizing. Okay, box sizing, let me just give you border. Okay, now as I used box sizing border box, so the entire box will be considered this, your entire border. Okay, so this border, whatever this border contains, is the content only. Okay, including this border too. So if I said that width should be 116 pixels, so it will think that entire width from this border to this border should be 116 pixels only. Okay, not inside but including these borders width as well. So you can see here that from that 116 pixels, 76 pixels got the width of our container. Okay, then 10 pixels here, 10 pixels here, this 76, 86, and then is 96. Okay, and total 96. Then we have a border width as well. So 96 becomes with this 10 106. Okay, and with this 10 from this side, it becomes another 10, that is 116. So the entire width from borders this point, borders outer line to this borders outer line, is 116 pixels. Okay, you don't have to manually decide how much should be the width and all. Okay, it will always whatever you have defined as your padding, it will just store that okay, if he defined it, the padding to be 10 pixels, then it has to be 10 pixels. If he decided that border should be of 10 pixels in width, it has to be 10 pixels on width. And whatever compromise it has to do, it will do it with content only. Okay, so only content size will shrink. If I increase the width with some, let's say, let's go with 200 pixels. 200 pixels, so you can see that let's just say here 200 pixels, so there should be 10 margin here, 10 here. Okay, and then 10 border this, 10 border this, so 20 here, 20 here. So 20, 20, 40 minus 40 in 200 minus 40 will be 160. So this content should be of 160 only. It is of 160 only. Got it? So this width will contain or will include the border width and the padding width. Okay, if you don't do box sizing, then it will the entire width will go to content only and your border will overflow. Okay, so make sure that whenever you are doing it, use box sizing so you can provide the entire width. You can decide for the entire content, not just what is inside, but how much is border and all. Okay, so yeah, this is all about box model. Okay, and we will see how it works after box model. And we have talked about what is margin, what is padding, we have talked about what is property, what is value, what is selector. Okay, and what is remaining in my sheet. I have put it here. Okay, now CSS types. Okay, since how long am I speaking? It's been 1 hour. Here it's been 34 minutes. Only 30. Okay, 52 minutes. No problem. It's been 52 minutes. Oh, sorry. Delete everything. And I don't want to use it anymore. Okay. So it's been only 50. It's been 52 minutes. I don't want it to be longer than half 1.5 hours. Okay. So let's go with our next thing, that is CSS types. Okay, so CSS are of three types. CSS are of three types. Let's use by default black color for it, and let's remove all this. Then we can use black color. CSS are of three types. Okay, I cannot see my markers here. What is wrong with this whiteboard? Okay, first is called inline. Second is called internal. What is internal? INTER, internal. Then third one is external. Ex EXTERNAL, external. Okay, let me tell you what these things are. So inside our code, let's say you have to add some style to this p tag. Okay, so there are three ways that you can use CSS on it. The very first way is inline CSS. How do you use inline CSS? So each and every of HTML tag has an attribute called style attribute. Okay, now this style attribute will contain all of your properties and their values. Okay, let's say that I want font color. Now P has DDC and DDC has some font color, so font color can be its property. And we can select here font color. Now in CSS for font color we simply use color. Okay, so color, let's go with red or brown. Okay, so DDC is now of brown color. If I check in my we see here. Now you can see that there is in brown color. Let me just put it here. Let me have it here. Let me close this tag. Let me make code a little bigger. Okay, and let's provide this DDC some. Let's give it some height so we can clearly see it. Okay, so for that, if you are working with text, it is better that you use font height, your font size. Okay, so let's go with, these are some predetermined sizes. Okay, I can go with uh, now by default size of a font is 16 pixels, and you can go 16 pixels and you will see then that there is no changes because it's already in 16 pixels by default. If you go anything higher than that, let's say 32 pixels, then it will become bigger. If you go like 64 pixels, it will become much bigger. Okay, so this will work for us. Now, as I said, that if you want to style something, you can style it directly inside your tag. Okay, inside your tag by using style as an attribute. Okay, this is the first type of CSS, and we call this an inline CSS. Inline CSS. Got it? From up. Okay, inline CSS. We can comment it out. I have already shown you how you should comment things. Okay, so inline CSS uses style attribute to style the element. Okay, the syntax will stay same. The property colon its value and then semicolon. Again, if you want to add some other property, then again property colon its value then semicolon. Okay, you can add more properties to it. Let's say I want to give it some border. Each content has border. So what border width, border border of 2 pixels, let's say. Okay, there are 2 pixels of border, but you cannot see because there is no color of it. So we have to put some color as well. Let's say black color, and now you can see nothing for some reason. Okay, we have two columns here. If I remove one, okay, it's not just black, but it's solid black. Okay, so border are of different types. Okay, there is the solid, then we have dotted borders. You will see dotted. If I have dotted, so it will become this dotted type of border, and mostly we use solid only, solid border. Okay, so 2 pixels will be the width of the border. Then what style it should be of dotted or of solid is like one continuous line. Okay, then its color, the size, the type, the color of border. Okay, then you don't have to remember all this, you can just find it. Okay, CSS properties, you can go to any website. W3 school is a great website, by the way, and here you can see all the properties and element can have. Okay, these are all properties. It's your job to just go through all these properties, or whenever you stuck at some point that I have to change this thing, then you can come here and check if that property actually exists or not. Okay, now after this, so this is what an inline CSS is. Inline CSS, how do we use it? We use a style attribute. Inside style attribute we can provide whatever properties we want and whatever its value are. Okay, the second type is what we call it, the internal CSS. Internal internal CSS. How we do that? As we have added CSS inside the p tag, we can also use a style tag in head tag. So style tag should always be inside head tag. Okay. Now from this inside this style tag, you can do things like say we are working with this p, so we can use the element selector p. Okay. Then we can provide. Okay. Let me use another p. Control Shift down key. I have copied the entire line. Now I can comment out this line. Sorry, uncomment. Okay, and I can remove the inline CSS from this. Okay, and can work with it. Okay, so inside p tag, let's provide it some ID channel name. Okay, now how do we trigger an ID? We have to put hashtag before hashtag channel name. Got it? And inside this channel name we can provide something like the color of this font that should be like say aqua. We won't be able to say aqua, let's go with blue, so it will turn blue. We cannot see it. Let's provide it some font size. You can see all the options. Okay, and also you can see how those things what and how those things are here. Okay, so font size, we can do font size, and that would be like say 64 pixels. That will work. Okay, so it became again 64 pixels, 64 pixels. Okay, now we can provide this as it is element. It should have some amount of border. Okay, it should have some amount of border. So let's say this is DDC1, or no, this will work as well. Okay, let's say have some amount of border. What I told you, the first width of the border, that is, let's go with 5 pixels. Then what type? Solid. And then what color would be red. Okay, got it. So I have applied a border with 10 pixels of its width and the color red. We can check it by using F12. F12, if there's this option, and on whatever you will hover it, it will show all its property. So you can check that the border is of 5 pixels. You can check it here. The border is of 5 pixels, as I have already mentioned here. The font size doesn't matter. Okay, now there is some margin. You can see this margin. Did I provided it? No. Then where this margin came from? I don't know. Again for this as well. Okay, so to tackle that, we do something called the style reset. Okay, now if you use star as a selector, it's a special selector, and it will select your entire HTML document. Okay, style, let's go with margin, and we will say whatever margin is there here, remove it. The entire margin is gone. There was some margin, there was some margin. Okay, by default margin, and I said remove entire margin is gone. Okay, there is some by default padding. See here, there's our text and there's our border, so there's some space. Where that space is coming from? Did I mention it? No. Then I don't need it, so I can remove padding as well. I can remove padding. Okay, let's say padding will also be 0 pixels, and boom, nothing happened. Okay, we use font size for this, and this is included inside font size. Instead of font size, let's go with height of 64 pixels, and that should also work. Okay, it increase the height of this tab. Okay. Hmm. What should we do now? We can provide some now see entire all the font have some amount of spacing for it, okay, to make it look better. So this spacing is by default, okay, by default provided by the font only. Okay, so we cannot remove that, but if there's something then we can remove that, or if there's some external padding we can remove that by using padding 0 pixels on star. Okay, now the third thing I told you that always make sure that your content contains everything including the border of it. Okay, so for that box sizing we can do border box, and now everything will be considered. Okay, see this got smaller. If I remove this, it becomes bigger, and if I add this, it got smaller. Why? Because this height 64 now include these borders as well. Before this line it was only for this content. This content was having entire 64 pixel height, but as I include this, now the browser know that no, it won't work. The 164 pixels is for entire content, that is from starting of it border to ending of it. Okay, now what I will do is we talked about border, we talked about padding, now talked about let's talk about margin. So not here. Let's say that my this div has some margin. Okay, I will provide it some margin of let's say 40 pixels, 50 pixels, let's go. So you can see that from everywhere it has a 50 pixels margin. If you can see it, you can verify it here. Okay, I will select this option to hover on it, and here I can see that there's a 50 pixel margin from all four sides. Now you can control each side by saying margin top, margin bottom, margin right, margin left, but that is something on you. I just want to show you that there's some margin applied. Okay, now if I provide same amount of margin to this as well, this div as well, how much space do you think will be between these two? Hmm? If I provide 10 margin to this div as well, how much space will be between this container and this container? Let's check. Let's check. Margin 50 pixels. Okay, this change, but the height didn't. You can see it. The height is still 50 pixels only. Okay, if I go to this tab also, the height is still 50 pixels only. Okay, what we understand from this is margin of two different content collapse on each other. Okay, now third thing comes is external CSS. Okay, let me just write these things here. How is inline CSS working? By using style attribute inside element element directly. Okay, how internal works is by using style tag inside head element. Okay, um, okay, and for external what we do is, why why it is of so much width. Okay, so for this, for the external one, we can create a new file. So why do we need external one? Let's talk about that first. When you are creating this page now, obviously right now it's just two div containers, so you are not seeing much of it. You can just define whatever style you need here only, okay? And you should do it if you have very small files, okay? Why create a new file when you can have something in one file only? But when this HTML file becomes bigger and bigger and bigger, right now it's only 27 lines. You can come across file which has like 27,000 lines. So in that file, if you sit and write style inside HTML only, then it will become even bigger. From 27,000 to it might go to 80,000, 90,000. You don't want that. You don't want to have that big of a file. It will be very problematic to work with it. Okay. So to counter that, we have something other, that is something called in external CSS. External. Now you can name it anything. I will name it day4.css. Okay, and you don't have to use style tag here. You can directly start applying your content. Okay, so I will create another tag. Okay, let's say this time a div tag, and I will give it a class. This time I will give it a class, and I will call it let's say div class. Okay, I haven't gave it anything yet. So how will I take this class here? Now if you check in our website, if you check in our website, there is no div class here because we have just created a div, an empty box which has nothing inside. If it has nothing inside, what will it show? Nothing. That's why we have nothing here. Okay. So now we can define some things to it. Okay. How I told you to use class as a selector. You can use dot div div class. This is what it is, right? Div class. Yeah. Now I will say that have some height, have some height of 100 pixels, have some width of 400 pixels, 400 pixels, have some background color of, I don't know, maybe this cadet blue, whatever it is. Okay, nothing is here. I cannot see anything. Why? Because I have created this CSS file, but my HTML file don't know if there is any external file or not. For adding that, what we do is we add another tag to head element, that is called link. Okay, link. Now link CSS. Now link contains a relation attribute. Relation attribute shows that whatever you are linking to this HTML file, what is its relation with this HTML file. In our case, the relation is a style sheet. Okay, so whatever file we are linking, that file will provide some style to our HTML file. And from where we are having that file, that we can use href. Just like anchor tag, we can use href here. Now the by default is style.css because it's most commonly used name for your style sheet. Here I have used default.css, but when you create something bigger, just go with style.css because that is easier to find by other developer. You will not be working alone. You will be working with some people, or you will show your project to some people. In that time, those people should know that what style sheet is used and what is the style sheet, so you can have this name. Okay, now Since my style sheet doesn't have the same name as style.css, it won't work. I have to go with day4.css. As I added, now this HTML knows that there is some CSS file, and where it will search in the root directory if there is something called day4.css, and it found one. Yeah, there it is. Does it contain anything? Yes, it does. It contains a class selector, and inside there are some properties. So is that class inside my HTML element? Yeah, it is. It is here, a div tag. Now I will apply all those class to this div tag. That is the concept behind having external CSS. Whatever CSS you want to write, you can write it here. Entire like 1000 line, 2000 line. Your entire CSS will be compact on one place. Your HTML will be shorter and easier to maintain, and your CSS file will also be easier to maintain. Now there is no need to have this CSS file. There there is no need to be only one CSS file. You can create multiple CSS file, and you can link all of those here. Okay. Same goes for CSS file. It doesn't have to be inside one HTML element, one HTML file only. You can create multiple HTML files, and you can use this CSS in each one of those. Okay. So that's how we can add in external CSS. Okay. And from nowadays forward, whatever we will be creating, we will be adding an external CSS only, because it is the industry level practice. You should be doing this only. Okay. And if your project is very small, go with internal CSS. If you know what you are doing, go with our, what is this, the inline CSS. Okay. So external CSS, external CSS. Okay, I should copy, comment it again. Okay, let me add some description to it. Adding CSS using style tag inside head tag. Okay, and for external CSS, creating an external CSS file and adding it to HTML by using link tag and having relation of style sheet. Style sheet. Got it? These are all three types. We will learn more as we go further. Okay. And what else is remaining? Okay, so external file we create by creating an external CSS file and adding it to HTML. Got it? Now the priority. So what if, let me tell you, okay, what if, let's consider this div tag only that we have created. Now let's say now that I don't have this class right now. Okay, let's say that I provided some inline CSS, and I will say that it has some. Okay. Okay, now if I provide an inline CSS style, but I can use style tag here, And what, see, we have already defined the color, the background color of it, right? Inside external CSS. What if I define color here again? What will happen? If I say that background color should be red, after I click D, what will happen? Will it turn to red or will it stay the same color? It will turn to red. You're getting it? Okay. Let's say that this is not true. I mean, this is true. Okay. Let's say that I'll remove this all and I define a new property inside our internal CSS. Okay. Oh. I define a new property inside our internal CSS. Here we can use the div class. Now you can add multiple classes. Okay, you can add multiple classes to the same element by just having a space between them, and we can call it internal class. Okay, internal class. Now what will happen is, if I am defining an internal class, how we define class? By dot internal class and curly braces. Now if I give it a background color of aqua, what will happen? Did it change? No. Did it change? No. Okay. But if I select this, cut it and put it before, what will happen? Nothing again. Why nothing happened? INTER IN. Am I doing some mistake that I cannot see? Copy, paste. Isn't changing color? Is supposed to change color or it should not? Hmm. What if I remove this? What will happen? Okay, I forgot some things. It's no problem. Okay, so the priority should go. Okay, so here's a simple game. Am I right or not? It's been so long since I did these things, so let me just check it. Okay, CSS type priorities. Specific hierarchy. Inline style should be above. Then ID. Is attribute should classes. Okay, so here's the game. So whatever the inline style will be, that should be the most priority. If your browser sees some style already defined inside a tag, then it will use it no matter whatever you have written anywhere else. Okay, and what, and then there we can go with this. Okay, after the inline tag, sorry, After the inline tag, the second most priority goes to the ID. Okay, if I have defined some ID here, if I have defined some ID here, okay, that ID, whatever class is, whatever properties are related to that ID or whatever style is related to that ID, that will get applied first, and then at the very last, we will be having our classes. Okay, in classes as well, whichever class is first, that's value will be applied. Okay, so if I go back to my CSS file and do this, come back. Okay, so external is getting more value. External is getting more value than internal. This is what I'm seeing. If I'm seeing, you will see it too. That is all. That is priority. We'll see how these things work, how we'll be creating project. Don't worry. Okay, and that wraps our content for today. Type, style, priority, box model. Okay, so in conclusion, what we have learned today are format document, this, and conclusion. For that, we will use this conclusion. For conclusion. Okay, we learned what are CSS, what is CSS. Okay, the selector property and value. Okay, and then types of CSS. Okay, box model. Okay, and then what else? Priority, which we fucked up a little. Priority of styles. Okay, first we get inline. Let's have some other color. Inline is prior than ID is prior than class. Got it? So this is all we learned for today. In our next session, we will be styling these elements. If I can go here, okay, if I make it bigger, we will be styling this page. We will be styling our login form, and we will be styling our submit form. So these three styles we will do in our next session. I hope you guys enjoyed this session, and let's meet in our next session. Okay, till then, discover what other properties are in CSS. Okay, you can check it by just searching CSS properties. Okay, and here in CSS reference you can see a lot of property. Okay, we will talk about these things later. We have background. Okay, we have background color, we have background image, we can add background image too. We have background size. Okay, we have border, we have okay, so you can select each border top, border bottom, right, border left. You can select each and every segment of the border. Okay, then we have border color. Okay, then we have border collapse. We will see it later when we will be making tables. I don't think we will be making tables, so forget it. Okay, now border top, as I said, those things. Okay, then there are in C we can have, these are something we will learn. Indeed, there is display. What is display? We will see it in our next session, because that will be something important, and that will be an important session. What is this? We will see Inline, okay. Justify item, okay. Line height, you can select the line height too, okay. If I go to this document, okay, back, so I can select how much line this line should have how much height. That is by using line height, okay. Line height. Then we can have list style. So we saw how we can create list, we can style that as well. We saw what is margin. I'll tell you what is margin block and all. This will be covered in our next session, okay. So padding again, padding block, I will tell you padding block. Then there's something called position. We will see this also in our next session, okay. The resize and all, okay, scroll and all. There are a lot of things. You can see how many are there. So ha- take your time, learn these things, okay, or just select one project and see what you need and is there a property related to that need. You can simply search it on Google, or now you can search it on ChatGPT or Gemini, wherever you like, okay. So for today's session, this will be enough. I hope you guys learned something new from today, and I hope you guys will implement it as well. I hope you guys will practice more thing and have some exercise for yourself, okay. For this, okay, if I go to login form, for this you can see it's this text. You should change its color, you should change its border width, okay, and you should change that would be enough. You can change its background color. I don't like this white color. You can change it to like maybe maybe grayish color, like dark mode, okay. And then you can change all this text color to white, so you can actually have that feel. So it's completely up to you how you want to style it, but try styling it. And I forgot to upload this code. So after this session, I will be uploading it on my GitHub, and its link will be will be in the comment section of this video, okay, or in the description after I close this video, okay. So best of luck, learn more, get more things done. I fucked up here in priority, but anyways, we learn, okay, and I'm pretty new to the teaching these things, so I make some mistake. Okay. Now we can, with that, we can conclude our live session. See ya in our next session.